Okay. So, welcome to the first mindfulness for wellbeing atelier of the year. We're going to be doing a body scan, so just setting yourself up, lying down if that feels right for you today. If you want to do it sitting, that's absolutely fine as well. If you are sitting, making sure that perhaps your hips are slightly higher than your knees, because this allows for the spine to be in its natural alignment. So, and ideally having a self-supporting spine. Again, this supports the body because we have a tendency to kind of slouch back and drop, and we want to have a dignified and graceful posture, kind of honoring our bodies and the time that we've taken out for ourselves in our busy days. So just settling into your posture, and I'm going to go and get my little bell that I've forgotten. First one of the year, there's always something that I forget. I've got a new setup, a new computer. So just taking a moment to arrive, maybe having a nice cozy blanket to hand if you have that available to you. I'm going to light this candle, so if you are sitting and you don't want to close your eyes, you can bring your attention to this amazing candle. It's got LED lights in it, quite magical. So you can bring your focus and bring a soft gaze. Closing your eyes doesn't feel right for you, but if it does, doing so. So just taking a moment to arrive, closing your eyes if that feels right for you, or focusing softly in front of you, either on the candle on the screen or perhaps something in front of you. You want your spine in its natural alignment, so your chin will be very slightly tucked. So you want a long back of the neck if you're sitting. Just taking a moment to feel the points of contact that you're making with the earth. I'm just going to take a few breaths together, not changing the rhythm in any way, simply observing the breath as it is. Perhaps noticing the coolness of the air in your nostrils, or maybe the warmth of the air as it leaves your nostrils. And I invite you to take an internal weather report. So sort of checking in with yourself. How are you? How are you in this moment? Dropping away from the story and the label and into the body. What exactly is this? What sensations do you notice? Are there shapes, colours, textures, movements? Is it in a particular part of the body or all over? Dropping into our bodies as we step from the doing into simply being, that we've taken the time out of our busy lives to simply be present, to notice. And then bringing your attention back to the breath. And I invite you to find a specific point within the breath that's most vivid for you today. Or perhaps if the breath isn't somewhere that you want to rest today, finding a neutral part of the body that you can bring your attention to. Each time your mind wanders within this practice, which it will again and again and again, the invitation is to bring yourself back to the present moment and to this anchor. And then you can expand your awareness back to the meditation when you're ready. It's really important that you take care of yourself within the practice. This is why we do this work. We're learning to listen to our bodies and pay attention and take care of ourselves. So if there's any part of the practice as we do the body scan you don't want to explore, then bringing yourself to this neutral anchor in your body or the breath. So for example, within the body, it could be your left little toe, or the crown of your head, or your right eyebrow. Just taking a moment to pick. And from here, let's expand our awareness to include the whole body. The points of contact that we're making with the earth. The feel of the air on our skin. The fabric of our clothes. Where do you begin and end? And now I invite you to narrow your attention to your left leg, all the way down to your left toes, left foot, little toes. So, well, let's start with the big toe. What, if anything, can you notice in your big toe right now? Does it feel warm or cool? Throbbing? Notice the contact with your socks or the blanket. Let's move across to the left little toe. Slightly harder to notice, this one. Can you notice how it touches the toe next to it? The nail bed. And if you can't notice anything, what is that nothingness? Being playful and curious and interested in you. That sort of childlike curiosity. Somehow we lose along the way. And then the toes in between, what can you notice here? The contact that they make with each other, the joints, the nail beds. What's here? Shapes, colours, textures. Maybe they feel dry or moist. There's no right or wrong way of doing this practice, just simply finding a way of exploring and noticing that works for you. My guidance is simply that, an invitation and a guidance. Don't have to follow what I'm saying. Okay, and then moving our attention away from the toes and bringing the spotlight of our awareness to the base of the foot. So the heel, pads of the ball of the foot, the arch, the side of the foot, I suppose the bit of the foot that makes contact with the earth. The skin is very different here. What can you notice here? Your body has known to create a different kind of skin here to support your needs. Not an accident. Warm, coolness, tingling, temperatures, colours, shapes, textures. What can you notice here? I was imagining shining a torch or a spotlight or sweeping motion or painting, colouring yourself in, whatever works for you. And then moving your attention away from the base of the left foot to the top of the left foot. What can you notice here? The skin tends to be a bit tighter. Yeah. Quite thin. The tendons and ligaments. And then moving your attention away from your left foot altogether and bringing the spotlight of your attention to your left lower leg between the ankle joint and the knee joint, the shin, the calf, the muscle, the bone, the skin, the contact with the earth, the temperatures, the colours, the movements, shapes. Each time your mind wanders, congratulating yourself for noticing, because this is the key to the practice, the noticing. This is pretty boring for the mind. It's got to-do lists and things that you didn't do lists and all sorts going on. And each time you notice, gently and firmly and kindly bringing yourself back to the body, that anchor into your left lower leg. And now moving your attention away from the left lower leg to the left upper leg. If you didn't include the knee joint in the lower leg, then perhaps pop it in now, up to the hip. The thigh, muscle, the bone. Does it feel light or heavy? What's here? What do you notice? What's vivid? What's quiet? Simply noticing. And bringing our wandering minds back over and over. Bringing an open and kind welcome to our experience, just as it is. Now an invitation to expand your awareness to the left leg as a whole and be playful with the breath. If this feels right for you. Playfully breathing into the space of the left leg and breathing out of the space of the left leg in whatever way works for you. So it could be like pouring a jug of air down there. Maybe you're breathing in and out of your toes. Maybe like gently blowing up a balloon. Maybe perhaps simply directing the breath down the thigh, past the lower leg, to the foot, and then back out again. I'm just going to do that a couple of times. Now letting go of the paying attention to the left leg altogether and moving across to the right hip and all the way down to your right foot and your right big toe. What can you notice here, if anything? Textures, colours, temperatures, light or heavy, tingling, throbbing. You notice the nail bed, the pad, the toe. And now switching to the little toe. What's here? Our little toes, so crucial in supporting us to be balanced and going so unnoticed. We're taking the time to deliberately pay attention to it. It's a pretty tricky part of the body to notice anything with unless we hurt it. What can you notice now in your right little toe? Now moving your attention to the toes in between, the contact that they make with each other, the nail beds, the joints. Where do they begin and end? Is it a clear line or do they sort of merge into your rest of your foot? Assuming the stance of an impartial witness of yourself. To your experience. Noticing the stream of the judging mind, doing what minds do, that's okay. We're not getting involved by the grasping and aversion, being okay with what is, and anchoring our attention in our toes. And now moving your attention away from the toes altogether and to the base of the foot, the heel, the balls of the foot, the arch. What do you notice? Shapes, colours, textures. And now moving your attention to the top of the foot. Where does that begin and end? Tendons and ligaments, joints. And now moving your attention all together away from the right foot and bringing the spotlight of your awareness to the right lower leg, between the ankle and the knee. The points of contact with the earth, coolness, warmth, heaviness, tingling. Simply noticing. Being patient with yourself. Quietly exploring your body, your left lower leg. Knowing that that anchor is always there for you within the practice. If there are areas of the body that you don't want to explore. And now, just as we brought our attention to the right lower leg, we're going to move it away and up to the right upper leg. And again, if you didn't include the knee joint, popping it in there, quite a juicy spot to explore often. Up to the hip. If you do notice discomfort, you don't need to go right to the center of the sensations, perhaps exploring the edges of where the sensations perhaps disappear. Or if they move, maybe they are a constant dull ache. Maybe there's a throbbing. Maybe there are shapes and colours and textures and temperatures here. Exploring your right upper leg in whatever way works for you. And now an invitation to expand your awareness to include all of your right leg. And again, to be playful with that breath if that feels right for you. Simply breathing in and breathing out of your right leg in whatever way works for you. Being playful. Curious. And interested. Perhaps giving a sense of space here. And now moving your attention away from the right leg altogether. We're going to move to the body and we're going to do it in cross sections. I'm going to start with the lower part of the body, sort of below just below the belly button. So including the pelvis, the lower back, the buttocks, all these organs inside that are cradled here, that pretty much go unnoticed, do their job without us having to do much. There's softness, and there's the hardness of the bones. Exploring what you can notice here. The beginner's mind, that fresh curiosity of meeting your body as it is today, being open to wonder. Now bringing your attention to the middle part of the trunk area, so the belly button to the lower rib cage, just below the chest and round, so the waist, your middle back. Perhaps you can notice the movement of the breath. If you're lying down, perhaps you can notice how the lungs push the ribs to the back, into the floor. It's a very subtle movement. Maybe noticing how it expands to the sides as you breathe in and out. Again, there's the softness that's necessary for our organs to work and to do what they need to do, and they're protected by the hardness of the bones. Kidneys and pancreas and stomach and gallbladder and all the anatomy that I've forgotten. What do you notice what stands out, the shapes, the colours, the temperatures. Trusting in the validity of your experience right now, exactly as it is. You don't need to change anything. You can simply be with things as they are. And now, just as we brought our attention here, we're going to move it away and up to the upper part of the body. So the upper chest, the collarbones, the shoulder blades, the upper ribs. Perhaps you can notice the subtle beat of your heart. The breath tends to be a bit more vivid here. Your chest, sternum. Again, this part of the body often holds a lot of tension. Perhaps you're noticing that, or perhaps it's not there. Simply being with your experience right now as it is. Trusting each moment. And now expanding your awareness from the chest to the belly and pelvis and the lower back and the middle back. So the trunk as a whole, and an invitation to be playful with the breath here again, if that feels right for you. Simply breathing in and breathing out into each nook and cranny of your trunk area. And now moving your attention away from the trunk area of the body to your arms. And we're going to explore the left arm and the right arm together. So going down the shoulders, past the elbows and the wrists to your hands. What do you notice here? What stands out? What's quiet? Coolness, warmth, tingling, dryness, dampness. Meeting yourself as you are and exploring those sensations. Is there a tingling? Is there aching? What exactly is here? What are the felt sensations as we drop into our bodies and simply observe them as they are and notice, leaving that judging mind and being with our direct experience. The palms of the hands, the backs of the hands, the nail beds. They feel heavy or light, their colours, their shapes. Now moving your attention away from your hands to your lower arms. So from the wrist up to the elbow. Perhaps noticing the points of contact that you're making with the earth or yourself. You notice the fabric of your clothes against your skin. The softness of the underarm. That's the pulsing, tingling, heaviness, lightness, whatever. Meeting it as it is. You don't need to change it. Simply notice it. And then just as we brought our attention here, we're going to move it away to the upper arms. So from the elbow joint to your shoulder, perhaps noticing the warmth or coolness of your armpit, bicep, tricep. And now expanding your awareness to include all of the arm, from the shoulder down to the fingertips. And again, an invitation to be playful with the breath if that feels right for you, or simply bringing your attention to the breath or that anchor in the body. I'm just going to take a few breaths, breathing into the arms and breathing out of the arms. And now, moving your attention away from the arms, bringing your attention to your neck, the back of the neck, front of the neck, the throat, perhaps noticing the passage of the air as it travels down this bit of the body. Can you notice as the air leaves? It's a tricky one, that one. And then moving your awareness to the scalp. Into your face. The forehead. The eyebrows, the eye sockets. Your eyes, eyelids. Your nose. Cheekbones. Jaw. Your teeth clenched. Is your mouth open? Where does your tongue sit in your mouth? Do your lips feel dry or moist? Your chin. Observing yourself as you are. Now moving your awareness to include the face, the scalp, the neck. An invitation to be playful with that breath again. Breathing into this space and breathing out of this space. And then expanding this breath to include the arms and the trunk, the right leg and the left leg. So holding your body in your mind's eye as a whole and simply breathing into the space of your body and breathing out of the space of your body. Letting go. Moving out of the perpetual human tendency to want to hold on to the pleasant and get rid of the unpleasant. Letting be. Observing the coming and going, the impermanence. Now narrowing your attention back to the breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Priceless Gifts by Anna Swur. An empty day without events, and that is why it grew immense. The space and suddenly happiness of being entered me. I heard in my heartbeat the birth of time, and each instant of life, one after the other, came rushing in like priceless gifts. So moving and stretching in whatever way you feel called to do today in this moment. And we're just going to take some time quietly to transition and share a cup of tea together. If you don't have tea, I will prepare you a cup here and you can observe the process. Today I'm having rosemary, which is apparently very good for memory and anti-aging. And I found it on one of my walks. It's completely free, so can't get better than that. And this part of the practice is an invitation to bring mindfulness, mindful awareness to the activities that we do within our day that are completely habitual and normal. This idea of taking time to drop into the felt sensations and colours and textures and shapes. And that these mundane experiences make up our lives and make up the majority of our lives. Not very dramatic. I don't really tend to pay attention to them, but they're there. So I'm going to pause the recording and open up the space to share. For those of you practicing accessing the live recording, this is an invitation to press pause and journal about your direct experience of the practice. And if anything particular came up or you'd like to query, then please do send me an email. Okay, so I'm going to introduce the home practice for this week. And it's going to be the 3-minute breathing space, which many of you may be familiar with. The invitation is 3 times a day. So almost like a breakfast a lunch and a dinner. So taking the time to pause 3 times every day. You've done this meditation today, so maybe start tomorrow. And within the breathing space, this is an opportunity to pause, and it's possibly the most important meditation to cultivate and to practice, because it's the one that we can then access when we're anywhere. So it's that one that if we practice it regularly, we really build up those neural pathways, that then when we are under immense stress, we've got something that our brains can take us to soothe us, to nourish us, to ground us, and support our experience of that stress. Stress is normal. Life is lifey, and this is just one of the ways that we can really cultivate a practical tool for well-being. So I'm going to guide you through it, and then the resources will be on the website. Okay, so this doesn't need to be done in any particular way. You can do this in the kitchen, you can do this on the toilet if that's the only time that you remember, or where you get alone time. You can do it at bedtime, or whenever. So let's just do it. Okay, so just taking a moment to either close your eyes or keep them open, and bring your awareness to your body. You can maybe scan from your head down to your toes, or your toes up to your head, or just shine a spotlight around in whatever way you want to do, and noticing what's here, the thoughts, the feelings, the sensations. Bringing awareness to your experience with kindness and gentleness. Shining the spotlight around your body, your face, your ears, your fingers, everywhere. What do you notice? Temperatures, shapes, colours, textures. Are there bits more interesting than others? What's not interesting? And now an invitation to narrow your attention to your breath, not changing the rhythm in any way, but simply observing the breath as you breathe out, breathe in and out. Perhaps you follow the whole breath. Maybe you simply focus on the in-breath or the out-breath, the pauses between the in-breath and the out-breath, those sort of nanoseconds in between. Now expanding your awareness from the breath to include all of your body, your breath in your body. space above you, beneath you. Where do you begin and end? Where is the space that you take up no longer you? Priceless gifts. An empty day without events. And that is why it grew immense. As space and suddenly happiness being entered me. I heard in my heartbeat the birth of time and each instant of life, one after the other, rushing in like priceless gifts. So, as best you can, taking this sense of awareness and connection into whatever you have left to do with your day. Listening to your needs, what you need to do right after this practice. If you can't do what you'd like to do now, perhaps writing it down and doing it later.